So you got a 14 to 18 Silverado or Sierra and you're wanting to put some big wheels and tires on it, but you don't want to do a full drop bracket lift kit. Well, today we're going to be installing exactly what you need. And that's going to be a 3-inch leveling kit paired with a set of lift upper control arms. That's going to get your truck sitting up plenty high to stuff a big 35 on your stock wheels, or you can go with like a 22, 24 by 12, 33s, do a little bit of trimming. Best part is this is going to maintain your factory-like ride, which is obviously pretty important if you're talking about your daily driver. And in the grand scheme of suspension modifications, this is definitely going to be one of the most affordable ways to go. So let's go ahead, get back to the farm, and get this install started. One last look with the factory rake. Let's grab a quick measurement. So from the tire to the fender, we are looking at right at 5.5 inches. So here's our kit. Got the MotoFab Special 3-inch leveling puck with their upper control arms. And these are going to correct the angles for your 2.5 to 3-inch kits. Got our wheels and tires off, sitting on jack stands with the parking brake on and disconnected to the negative terminal. Let's go ahead and start by removing all of our ABS lines. It's going to be 2 10 mils. And you can pinch this guy together and remove this bracket. We're gonna give ourselves a little extra clearance. Pop this line out of there. Let's pull these little Christmas trees out. And yes, this is the correct tool for it. Now that you got all of that free, we're gonna go ahead and use our 15 mil to get these sway bar end links off. 13/16, let's get our tie rod free. Throw this guy back on there so we don't lose it. Now we're going through the engine bay and we're gonna go ahead and remove the 2 rear nuts and then loosen the front one, but don't completely remove it. It's gonna be 11/16. So as of right now, everything is being supported by the upper control arm sitting on the bump stop. So we can go ahead and remove the bolts for the shop, but you do want to go ahead and get your jack ready because you are going to want to support this thing in just a second. These bolts are going to be a 15 mil. So as you see, everything moves nice and smooth right now. That's the lower control arm bushings doing their job. So we want to go ahead and loosen those so that once we put the leveling kit in here and have everything at the correct angle at which it's going to ride, then we can tighten those down and the bushings won't already have a preload on them like they would if you did not loosen those and just shoved your leveling kit in here. It's going to push everything down and they're going to always have that tension on them. So let's loosen those guys up. I think it's a 15/16. 15/16 on the nut side and an 18 mil on the bolt side. Front and rear. Now we're gonna go ahead and loosen our upper control arm bolt. It's an 18 mil. Just go ahead and take it to the very bottom. You can even take it off if you want and then thread it back on. That will ensure that once you go to remove it completely, it's not going to free spin the ball joint itself when this pops loose. And then you definitely want something to catch this when you pop it out of the knuckle. So at this point, you're gonna grab a hammer and you are going to beat the tar out of this thing until the ball joint pops out of this knuckle, which it could go very quick or be a royal pain in the butt. Just get you a gap and then fill that sucker up. Move it around. Hopefully that'll get inside this knuckle and then it can actually break free. Sometimes there simply just isn't enough weight or force bearing down on it. So you want to go ahead, grab your ratchet strap and apply some upward force to the control arm. So let that be an example. It's not always rainbow and sunshines over here on this side of the camera. That is 7 minutes, 53 seconds of filming. So I'm sure I skipped a majority of me cussing at this thing, but There it is. That took entirely too long. Factory ball joint, did not want to leave, but we finally got it out. Now it's time to go ahead and remove the upper, but before we loosen the bolts, I like to go with a Sharpie and on all four, mark your alignment. That way you can set it back to the same specs with the new upper control arm. I also have the jack supporting the lower, that way all of this isn't immediately trying to fall out. And these are gonna be a 13-16 on both sides. And you can't remove the bolts without the strut out, so just remove your nut, and then remember when you're putting it back together to put the upper control arm on before the strut, because if you don't, you're not gonna be able to get those bolts in there and you're gonna have to take it back apart. And then bring it on out the top. All right, there we go. Now you wanna go ahead and just clean this up some so your new one slides in there nice and easy. Now it's time to go ahead and put the leveling kit on top of our strut. So first thing you do is take the hex bolt screws and put those up through the pre-threaded part of the puck. These are gonna be the bolts that actually get connected to the strut tower themselves. Once you do that, you can go ahead and line this guy up. It is directional, or like the orientation has to be correct because it's not the same triangle on each end, which will lead me to what I'm fixing to talk to y'all about. But then take your lock nuts, come with the leveling kit, and you want to go ahead and tighten those guys down on there. Now that we got that fully tightened, we're gonna go ahead and put our upper control arm on and then the strut. Now we're gonna go ahead and put our new upper control arm in before we stick the strut back in here so that we can get our bolts in. And with these, you do not have to remove your little bump stop pad or cut the bump stop off unless you're going crazy and you're doing some kind of max level stacking kits, which I don't recommend, but I know a lot of people love to do it. So if you want to, go for it. Chop your bump stop clean off and make your CV axles cry. And then you're probably gonna have to grab your wrench in order to get this because it is grooved. It's got little teeth to lock it on. So we are. So we'll go ahead and get this guy set correctly so that our pin can line up. And there she is. Now, if you're doing this one side at a time, you're gonna have to rotate your entire strut assembly 180 degrees. If you are doing it together on both sides, apparently you can just swap strut sides, and that keeps it in the correct orientation. Aha, it is. All right, good. Get this guy in there, rotate her around into place. I had to swap y'all over so I can actually do this. One two-handed, one person jacking and lining. Drop her back down. There we go. There it is. Oh. It's a small window to make. There we go. Just raise her on up now. Grab you a strut nut. Go ahead and throw it on there. Snug her down so it can't fall. This piece of paper right here says do not grease it. It is pre-greased, so take note of that. And then you want to take your new nut that comes with the kit, thread it on. That's going to be a 19 mil. You might have to adjust it a little tighter or a little looser depending on where that hole is for you to line the cotter pin up. You don't want to forget and not do that because this is the last thing you pretty much want to back out. So now that we've done that, we can go ahead and put our tie rod back in here, get it tightened down. Now we can put our brake line bracket back on with the new supplied screw. Got a clap wagon going by. And this guy's probably not gonna be long enough to clip back in. I do the top Christmas tree back where it was, and then this guy can chill. You can cut that off, leave it as is, or if you wanna adjust this, you can probably pull it in far enough to clip it back in, but she'd be all right like that. As you can see, just barely got the truck above the jack, so the full suspension is compressed right now. So we wanna go ahead and tighten those lower control arm bolts, as well as, check this out. Pretty cool how they cut that right there so it doesn't make contact with the coil. And as you see, we have all the room to our bump stop, unless you go jumping this thing. Should never have any contact with that. So I'm gonna go ahead and tighten those guys down, 18 mil and a 15/16. Now go ahead and get your bracket, line this guy up. 10 mil, tighten her down. And then you can clip your sensor back in. And we're good to go. Time for our second to last thing. Go in here with your 13/16. Adjust your alignment to how you want it. I'm gonna line mine up with how I had it before, the way we marked it. And just go ahead and tighten this guy down. Final steps of the install are going to be throwing in our sway bar end links and then just going back to ensure that we torqued everything down properly. Now you don't want to put the end links in until you've got both sides completed, because if you've got one done and the other one isn't, they're going to be at two completely different angles and you're going to be fighting with them suckers. So if you get one done, just go ahead, leave the sway bar end link out, complete the other side, then get both at full droop and then stick them in there, and you can just grab this guy and push it down or up depending on how it needs to go. Tighten them down, and then you are done. So overall, this is a super easy install. The only thing that even could potentially give you a problem would be, of course, that upper ball joint, like it did us, was an absolute royal pain in the butt. But aside from that, this is an easy day install for a somewhat mechanically inclined person, or if you're, working on trucks all the time, or you got some buddies that can help you. It's a couple-hour job, no problem whatsoever. So with that said, I'm gonna go ahead, button those things up, throw the wheels and tires on, and then we're gonna run the B-roll. See how this thing looks on the 3-inch leveling kit. Whatever this freaking plan is, don't touch it. Don't walk near it. Just don't. It's the freaking porcupine of the plant world, I guess. All right, guys. Well, here she is, and holy crap, what a world of a difference. This thing looks like a completely new truck, and I am loving it. Oh my God. That freaking red chrome is insane. But dude, look at the stance. That 3-inch is just so freaking good. Oh my gosh. Every angle. Even driving it, it feels better. Got you laid back just a little bit. Just so much more beefy and bulky, and I guess just truck-like feeling. It just feels big now, which obviously, it's a 3-inch leveling kit. It's not huge or anything, but look at that. Oh my God. It's way, way bigger. We haven't measured it yet to see exactly how much it ended up bringing it up, but she is sitting pretty much perfect to me. Future me hopping in right now because I totally forgot to give y'all a measurement, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people curious about it. So before we measured from tire to fender, it was 5.5 inches. Now, is that where you're supposed to technically measure it from to see how much it actually got raised? I don't know. It could be more from the front. It could be less from the back because we didn't do anything with the rear of the truck. We basically just turned it from raking to, you know, sitting more like that. So I don't know. Either way, we're going to remeasure where we did before. So 5.5, completely stock, now sitting from tire to fender, 9.5. So this 3-inch leveling kit actually ended up raising our truck from that measurement 4 full inches. So if you weren't wanting to sit that high, maybe go with a 2.5, but personally, the 3-inch is absolutely the way to go. And I'm going to show you all my angles real quick in just a second. Oh my gosh, it's perfect. I'm sure a lot of people are curious because the last thing you want to do, unless you're trying to max it out, is to max out your suspension. So here's our angles right now. 3-inch leveling kit, focus. That's nothing. That is literally nothing. You're not gonna have any issues whatsoever on that, unless you got like, you know, 300,000 miles, and sure, it could cause some issues. But dude, that's beautiful. That is gorgeous. That is actually incredible for raising the front of this truck 4 inches and the angles to look like that. And here's a look at the clearance between the upper control arm and the coils. Probably a solid 1/2 inch. And then our bump stops, there's probably a full freaking inch. There is a ton. So you should never bottom this out. That's why they are designed, obviously arched like this and notched like this. This part is skinnier than there, so it clears the coil without any issue as it travels. So there's the underside, looking great. Now let's go ahead and jump back to past me. She's ready for some big tires or some wide tires. That's the big debate. What do we do? Do we go wide and low? Like low, whatever, stance? We're gonna put a big meaty boy on here. I mean, it is wheels and tires. Y'all know we love swapping them mugs here on this channel. So I'm sure she will see many different setups. But what do you think would be the permanent, perfect, like long-term setup for this thing? Oh my gosh, it looks so freaking good. The red is treating me so right. It's so easy to film. It loves the shade. It loves the sun. Well, for the most part, it loves the sun. Sometimes it doesn't. Look at that truck. Look at that freaking truck. Oh my gosh. Dude, it looks so freaking good. I am stoked. And like I said, man, if you are somewhat knowledgeable, this is a very easy install. And there's multiple ways that you can do it, some of which are easier than I did, some of which are like, I guess maybe the more correct way, but take longer, whatever the case. Also, the wires, once we're down on the ground and everything, they do clip back in, so you can clip them lugs in if you want, but it's looking good, dude. It's looking freaking good. Let me give y'all the interior POV. It's like I said, it feels just so much better. You're sitting back now. Oh my gosh, the hood is so much more pronounced. You really see those big snouts. Oh my god, it's so good. It's just so good. If you got one of these trucks, man, put a freaking 3-inch leveling kit. Do this exact combo and you won't regret it. You will freaking love it. Here's your POV. It looks and feels so much better, and our steering wheel is pretty much straight, almost straight. Of course, our tires are a little towed in because as you go up, it pulls the tie rods in, so definitely need alignment. Look at this little 2-door GMT 800 dually. Oh, that's so sick. Oh, that thing is so disgusting. That was like a early truck, early 2000s. LB7 probably, had the big domed front hood. Such a cool truck. Totally forgot to show y'all how to adjust the headlights because I haven't done it yet and we got to do it. So we're about to obliterate everybody on the way home. It's Lauren's birthday today, so everybody wish her a happy birthday. Just smoked $157 at, of course, TJ Maxx, your wife, girlfriend's favorite place. Somehow, some way, we have not gotten bright lighted this entire ride home. As you can tell by the cutoff in the trees, we're shining way high. That's high beams. We're literally just shining off into outer space at this point. Look at that cutoff line. That's crispy though, but it's so incredibly high. That's like top of your vehicle high. All right, let's go ahead and get these headlights adjusted. It is super easy. let's turn them on. Pop our hood. And all you need is a Phillips head screwdriver. You got one hole right there and the other one right there. So just stick her down in there and figure out which way makes it go up or down. And as you see, just bring that sucker way on down. Let's get the other side. And you might have to fine tune it. Go for a drive, see how she looks. I like to do my left one a little bit lower than my right one because that's like, I don't know why actually. I guess because the left one is like what's shining directly at people coming at me. And I don't know, I mean, you make them perfectly, I don't even know why I said that. All right, well, there it is. Simple as that. Screwdriver in the hole, headlights pulled way down. So now we should be good to go. You probably will still get the occasional bright light because of Mr. Fog lights. They're now pointed more up than they are directly on the ground, which they were, you know, designed for. But yeah, anyways, there it is. Don't forget to adjust your headlights. Let's get a little step back, see how obliterated we get. Oh, dude, it was disgusting. So yeah, up here, head level, not blinded. Come down here, and you're obliterated. So yeah, there it is, boys. Hope y'all enjoyed. Drop a comment, leave a like, subscribe if you're new, ring that bell notification, and I'll see y'all boys in the next video.